So my name is Khushbu Anand. I live in Delhi and I have done my graduation from Shahid Sukhdev. After that, I've had 6 years of work experience in the tech industry, and I wanted to pursue MBA to accelerate my career within the same industry as well. So that's my background. And for GMAT, I took help from Verbalhub for my GMAT preparation. I think MBA preparation includes a big part is obviously GMAT, but if you don't have English as your native language, then you might have to prepare for TOEFL and IELTS exam as well. Apart from that, you should also be focusing a lot on your resume and what you're doing at work, because that is a big component of your application. For example, promotions, try to get promoted at work, try to do different projects, and also do something outside of work. Like I'm very passionate about volunteering. So I do a lot of that, and I've been doing this for the last 5 years as well. And when I was doing my applications for MBA, I realized that apart from GMAT, these are also important aspects. Having said that, obviously GMAT prep takes up most of your time and is the most lengthy one. So give enough time for your GMAT prep, not just 1 month or 2 months. You might need to spend more time on GMAT. I think definitely do not underestimate verbal, because we tend to think that हम English में बात करते हैं, we're watching shows, movies in English as well, so English is easy language for us, but it's not. Verbal in GMAT is a lot about logical as well as English. So verbal definitely should be very important aspect for you. Having obviously, if you are someone who has a technical background, then maths will be easy, but still give enough time to both the topics and start in advance. Start topic by topic, take help from a professional. You have a lot of free resources online, but sometimes that's not enough. So if you're a beginner, if you have the time, take a 3-month or a 6-month course and go through each topic in GMAT in detail, so that when you have the time to give your exam, you do it. Another important tip is once you're done with your prep, focus on your mocks. Focus on giving as many exams as possible, but definitely start with taking help from people. When I started my journey, I started on my own. I thought I could do it, but I gave an attempt and it didn't work out. That's when I started using Verbalhub. So it's very important to take help as well. I think for Q51, you just have to follow, basically you have to do questions every day. And an important aspect is don't miss out on questions which are 600 level. Sometimes those are the questions that don't let you reach that 51 number. So try all different kinds of questions and try some questions. So at the end of my preparation, when I'd done all topics of Quant, I was only doing 20 questions of Quant every day, just so that I was at that practice also. And be careful of the time. If you're taking a lot of time in questions, monitor that properly, because that is the difference between a Q48 and a Q51. I think I can only speak about my experience for verbal. In general, I don't know how it is for people, but for me, for example, reading comprehension was a big point, because I thought reading comprehension, there are only a few questions, so you tend to not give it as importance as sentence correction. But actually, reading comprehension is a very big portion in GMAT. It is 4 paragraphs now. So from a Q30 to a 36, make sure that you're covering all the sections equally, not just sentence correction. But from a 36 to a 40, then you need to master each of those sections properly as well. So give enough time to those sections, but also practice with someone who understands the basics of grammar as well, because that is what will come in handy. Also, I think one other thing in verbal, it can be very, very time consuming. So you should have some tips and tricks on verbal, like how you can solve something faster. Maybe looking at a paragraph, you should know what are the main things I should be looking at instead of reading a long paragraph altogether. So those are very important. And I got all of these tips through, working with Verbalhub. Thing for me, because I was very, very nervous about the exam. So the last 1 week I actually focused on meditation, tried to calm myself down so that my performance in the exam is not, ruined. Sleep is very important at that time. Although I was still taking classes, I would still make sure I have a good sleep pattern. So doing all those things. And then also I would, like I said before, I was doing 20 questions per topic every day just to be in touch with what I had done. And I don't forget by the time I give the exam. But it's also important to pace yourself before the exam. You don't want to be too tired when the exam comes. So that should be your last mile strategy. And obviously give one mock 7 days or 5 days before the exam, just so you're able to keep that stamina of a 3-hour exam. So that would be the last mile strategy. I think there are a lot of reasons from my personal experience as well. First of all, obviously expertise in the topic and what I'm being taught and getting into detail of each and every topic. Having the patience to answer my questions multiple times, whatever the queries were, they were always answered, no matter how many times I asked the same questions. Third, most importantly, an expert is sitting there with you diagnosing what your problem is. For when I came into Verbalhub, I thought my problem is sentence correction. But I figured out by working with my teacher that I actually was not doing reading comprehension right. So figuring out that is also a very important part, which only Verbalhub can help you out with. And then most importantly, you need moral support as well when you're going through GMAT prep. GMAT is a very taxing exam, and having a teacher who's encouraging and motivates you for this exam will be very important. And I think that is the distinguisher that Verbalhub has. There are a lot of other institutes, a lot of other teachers, but they're not invested in your growth. They're just doing their job. Here, you're getting someone who's actually cares about you. So I definitely think Verbalhub is, is a great platform to join for GMAT prep.